Hi, everyone. I know I'm getting a lot of questions at the moment about your right to protest as a non-citizen. We asked the question last week whether you were actively engaged in protests at the moment, and 20% of you said that you were, and then 70% of you said that you were interested in getting involved but didn't know the implications and didn't know the information surrounding that. So I thought I'd get our resident immigration lawyer and friend, Doug Lightman, the founder and principal attorney at Lightman Law Firm. G'day, Doug. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, hi, everyone. Thanks
so, not a problem at all. Thank you. I guess sort of really broadly, people just want to understand, as a non-citizen, so I'm someone here on a visa, E3, H1B, whatever it is, am I allowed, sort of in the simplest form, to attend a protest?
Sure. There's nothing that would bar an individual who's here on a temporary work visa or other temporary type of status, such as a student or visitor, from partaking in a peaceful protest.
Awesome. So is there anything that people need to sort of be considerate of that might come up that might adjust, or impact them at the moment or on future applications if they're going to protest?
Well, something that could have an impact on them as it relates to a future request for an immigration benefit, whether it's another visa or potentially an application for a green card or even citizenship, is if they are arrested and charged with a crime. Either of those scenarios could potentially impact a future request for an immigration benefit, and it would always have to be disclosed.
Okay, so that's important to know, because I think that discrepancy between being arrested and being charged is what a few people are confused with. But if you're arrested, whether sort of rightfully or however it is, you will have to declare that you have been arrested on future applications.
That's correct. If you're arrested, whether or not the charges are dropped or dismissed, or in maybe a rare scenario, no charges are brought, technically it's still something that would have to be disclosed on any request for an immigration benefit.
So when does that question come up, have you been arrested, have you been charged? Is that something that happens just at an interview, or is that something that happens on forms when you actually apply for a visa?
Yeah, so that can happen in a number of scenarios. That could happen if you're applying for a visa at a consulate abroad. That information would be requested on the DS-160. If you're applying for a green card via the immigrant visa route or the adjustment of status route, that information would have to be disclosed. It always has to be disclosed on an application for naturalization. And if you're applying for an extension of your visitor status, or you're applying to change your status to a visitor or a student in the United States, that would come up. The only time it doesn't come up is if you are applying in the United States for a work visa status or to extend your work visa status. That's the only time that item does not appear, meaning that that's the only time it does not have to be disclosed.
So if you are arrested and or charged, is that something you have to disclose on these forms, or, depending on particular scenarios, or, do you have any advice for people who are currently filling in those forms?
Yeah. So if you are arrested or charged with a crime, even if it's dismissed or even if no charges are brought, but you are arrested, you absolutely have to disclose it. The vast majority of the time, the arrest or the charge doesn't amount to something that would negatively impact a case, but not disclosing it would have a worse impact than disclosing it. It needs to be disclosed. The consequences of not disclosing something, even if it's a minor infraction, are going to be much worse. Okay,
and that's a really good point. So just being arrested or being charged is not necessarily saying that you can never get a visa again. It's just something you do have to disclose, and it becomes part of your disclosure when you're filling in the forms.
Right, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't bar you from obtaining a benefit. It does depend on what you were convicted of ultimately. So, you can be charged with something that's quite severe, but ultimately one has to look at what they are convicted of. And that really is what would control the consequences of the incident. And as far as it relates to the immigration benefit that you're seeking.
Awesome.